Good morning. My name is Mike Hagenhoff, and along with Michelle Ostermuller and Russ Isaac, Chair Ascension's 2022 Annual Catholic Appeal. On behalf of Michelle and Russ, I would like to thank all of the parish for their continued support of the ACA as we again led the Archdiocese in 2021 in pledges and matching gifts. If you have time after Mass today, we encourage you to stop by the multi-purpose room for what we call our Social Sunday, and we'll have donuts, and I'll give you also an opportunity to meet Tony, who will be introduced here in just a second. Your donations to the ACA help fund a multitude of needs throughout the Archdiocese. As in the past years, we have asked organizations who benefit from your generosity to share with our parish how your donations are being used to impact the various needs challenging those in our parishes as well as those throughout the Archdiocese. Our speaker this morning is Tony Armitage, co-founder of One Americas. Tony and his family are parishioners of Mary Queen of Peace. Tony and Leanne have two children, one a senior at Cor Jesu and one a seventh grader at Mary Queen. Christopher, his son, was the first child with Down syndrome ever enrolled at Mary Queen. Tony and Leanne started One Classroom, a 501c3 nonprofit, in 2015, and now have helped 15 parishes in the Archdiocese welcome children with special needs, and they currently financially support over 12 of those schools. One Classroom also helps families around the country who wish for a Catholic education for their child with special needs. If you would, please give an Ascension welcome to Tony Armitage.
Mike, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm delighted to share with you the work of One Classroom and how important the ACA is to carrying out our mission. In the Acts of the Apostles, we learned that generosity characterized the earliest Christian communities, and your support of the ACA is a wonderful example of that kind of generosity. And on behalf of the many organizations that receive support from the ACA, thank you very much for your help. You're a wonderful example to all the parishes in our archdiocese. Leanne and I have been parishioners of Mary Queen of Peace for 19 years. We have two children, Mary, who's a senior at Cor Jesu, and Christopher, who's a seventh grader at Mary Queen of Peace. And of course, he has Down syndrome. And as he was approaching school age, my wife did all the heavy lifting, learning about what educational pathways were available for him. And so she visited private schools and public schools and Catholic schools, and she traveled around the country going to conferences and visiting schools to find out what were best practices for a child like our son Christopher. And she learned several important things. One, inclusive education was the best way to educate a child like my son Christopher. And 40 years of research indicated that for someone like Chris, he would have the best outcomes and the best results by being educated inclusively. She also learned that in the public schools, the availability and quality of inclusive education was very inconsistent. And advocating for your child in the public school system year after year for the resources they need would be extremely difficult and extremely challenging. We also learned that while Catholic schools in St. Louis generally did not educate children like my son Christopher, there are many, many families in our archdiocese that wished for a Catholic education for their child with diagnosed learning challenges. And she also learned that hundreds of Catholic schools around the country were starting to welcome children like my son Christopher, do so inclusively and do so successfully. Over 35% of Catholic families have a child with a diagnosed learning challenge. And over 3.5% of Catholic families have a child with more significant or severe special needs like my son Christopher. Based on the current population in our Catholic schools in St. Louis, we know that there are at least 2,000 children with mild or moderate learning challenges that could be in our schools that simply are not. And we know that there are over 600 children with more significant or severe special needs that could be in our Catholic schools that are not. To meet the needs of our families, our Catholic schools have to find a way to provide education for every child in the family. Inclusive education makes that possible. When we talk about inclusive education, what we're saying is that child is educated in the classroom with all the other students, all their age peers, and whatever specialized needs that child needs are provided to them in the classroom, and not by segregating that child in a separate room or a separate building. One Classroom is designed to help schools become inclusive. So we visit parishes and we give presentations to principals and pastors and parishioners and teachers. We tell them what inclusion is all about and what it can look like in their school. We raise funds and provide financing to schools so they can start programs and start welcoming kids. And most importantly, we have inclusion experts on our staff and on our board that provide professional development to schools, support teachers, help them with the tools and the processes, the systems they need to welcome kids and be successful. And we also help parishes gain support from their community so they can be welcoming kids and create a culture that's welcoming to all children. When we first started in 2015, it was very difficult to find schools who were willing to welcome children like our son Christopher. But with the support of then Archbishop Carlson, our current Archbishop Rosansky, the wonderful people of the Catholic Education Office, and most especially the ACA, that has really changed. And our main challenge now is gathering the resources that we need to build our capacity to reach more children and to reach more schools. In John 9, it says, "As he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, 'Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?' Jesus answered, 'Neither he nor his parents sinned. It is so that the works of God might be made visible through him.'" And so it can be with our Catholic schools. We can make the works of God more visible in our community by welcoming children with special need in our schools and create communities more perfect in Christ. I'd like to share with you a photograph of one of the children we support. She's a youngster at St. Francis of Assisi, and she's just a beautiful little girl, and I'd like to read for you some commentary I see from their principal about her experience there. "This little peanut used to be scared to come to school every day. She walked with her shoulders all hunched over, staring at the floor. She would hide under her desk or flee rather than do her work. She is challenged with autism. Thanks to One Classroom, we were able to keep her at St. Francis, where she receives support from a paraeducator and receives reading services each day. Today, she proudly displayed all of the words she read on her own so that the teacher could take a picture and send it to her mom. She now walks tall and talks with friends more than ever. She is no longer afraid to walk down the hallway. She rarely hides under her desk to escape her schoolwork. And I ask permission to share this picture with you as well, and to thank you for making such a difference in the life of this child." This young student has a sibling who will be joining her next year at St. Francis of Assisi, and one other student we support at St. Francis of Assisi has 3 siblings at this school. So clearly, by reaching out and helping our schools educate all children in the family, we are better serving our community. I'd like to thank you for your support of the ACA. We can't do our work without them. I like to think of the ACA as community builders that helps make connections for organizations like ours and help us achieve results that we just couldn't on our own. So God bless you for your support. And I ask that you prayerfully consider your support for the ACA this year. Perhaps consider increasing your support so organizations like ours can achieve our mission. So thank you so much for your time. God bless you and have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you.